So at this point, you probably recognize that B100 Dance is all about being intentional in dance. And that was a very intentional choice because I was very intentional about being intentional.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? So today we're talking about intentionality. We'll really talk about three things within intentionality. So the three things that fit inside of intentionality. Intentionality is the core. Let me try to say intentionality as many times as possible in this video. So the first thing is intentionality with growth, right? Dance education is all what I'm about. But when it comes to intentionality and growth, you have to ask yourself, what is it that I'm growing in? Okay, I, as your instructor, will definitely have an idea of what I want you to grow in, and that might change based off of how you respond to the lesson that I'm giving you. However, you as a student, whether it's through me, whether it's through someone else, whether it's online, whether it's, anything, even if it's like a social dance, right? That's not specifically a lesson, but it's just the practice of the dancing that you're doing. You should be asking yourself what it is that you're growing in, because the benefits of that growth will exponentially multiply, because you are asking yourself and trying to choose a specific thing that you're trying to grow in. Instead of like meandering through the dance class, you can say, I'm trying to grow in this. And if it's something new you haven't done or something that you're not necessarily familiar with, you can ask yourself that question maybe halfway through, right? Halfway through, you're like, all right, here's something I realized that I would like to get out of this class or grow in relation to X. For example, last night I went to a blues social dance. Blues is like a type of partner dancing, basically. It's kind of it's like in the swing, like American type of partner dancing arena. I'm not going to go into that. I'll probably talk about it later. But last night I realized in the social dance, because I missed the lesson because I was late, I went to the actual halfway through the social dance. I was like, I can grow in X. And I realized I was doing the same thing over and over again. So let me try to find different ways to move and communicate with my partner and be intentional about having that connection, so that as we're moving, I can communicate to her, this is what we're doing as the lead. So that is something I grabbed onto, and by the end of the night, I saw the growth that I had from the beginning of the social to the end of the social, because I decided this is what I'm doing, right? Intentionality and growth. The second thing is intentionality in aim. Okay, another anecdote is I was at a performance in December, it's 2023, oh my goodness, in December last year, and I realized, I talked to another girl who had a solo like me, and she was talking about what she wanted to do with her life, and she was like, I just want to dance. And that phrase frustrates me for two different reasons. One, because I started off that way, and I don't think it's necessarily wrong to start off that way, as long as you don't allow it to hinder you, right? Because dance in itself is intoxicating. Right? It's just like that freedom, it's joy, it's connection, it's amazing. But dance was never supposed to be self-sustaining. Yeah, you have to do something with dance. What is it that you're trying to do? What is it that you're trying to achieve? Not that it's like cold cash, but it's like, it's too much of a powerful tool to just be itself, right? You can impact people with it. So, the second reason why it frustrates me is because, not only because I can relate to it, and so I've grown out of that, and I see people not choosing to grow out of that, but the second thing is that I see a lot of dancers be creative in their dance, but not with their dance, right? So inside of the dance container, you're creative beyond belief, right? You're creating things that no one has ever thought of before, and moments and emotions and things, storylines that no one could ever replicate, because it's just you, right? That's phenomenal. However, be creative with where you're putting the container. Everyone's trying to be a professional dancer, or not everyone. A lot of people are trying to be professional dancers. And so I told her, I was like, being a professional dancer just means you're professionally dancing. That could mean anything. So be creative with how you're going to be a professional dancer. Not what you're going to do inside of the dance, not how you're going to be creative in the dance, but with your dance. Where are you going with this? Create your own space, carve out your own hole, and then people can come to you for that specific thing because you created a creative environment. Number 3, intentionality about being open. Okay? B100 is all about intentionality. I just talked to you about intentionality with growth. I talked to you about intentionality with aim. But I don't want to lead you astray as I talk so much about intentionality and choice. Not everything can be solved by making a choice. There are certain things that you cannot plan for, and there are certain things that you don't want to plan for. You want to be open, right? I'm talking from personal experience. Even with this talk show, I was like, what is my aim for this talk show? Okay, X. But the only way I could open up and be like, hold on, what is the aim for this? Is by being open. There are certain things that I discovered along the way for season 2 that I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna be open to what this turns into, right? Because as soon as you make a choice, you should follow that path, right? That's organized, but you need to be allowed to be open, and you need to be intentional about being open, because humans really aren't open to a lot of different things. As dancers, we're like, this is the goal, this is the choreography, this is what's happening, this is what I'm doing. Or it's the opposite. Like, just feel the music and the spirit around you of the movement. And I'm like, what are you talking about, fam? Like, what are you actually talking about, right? So openness is not flakiness, nor is it rigidity. Openness is opening up your mind and your perspective to saying, what can this be? And so even in 2023, as I sat myself down and said, what is the aim of this talk show? I took the things that I learned from being open and I applied them, and I've now created another goal. If season 3 is like vastly different from season 2, it's because I intentionally opened myself up and then I intentionally chose something again, right? So there's this ebb and flow of life. You have to work and you have to rest. You have to choose something, and then you have to open yourself back up again. And then you choose something else, and then you dive deeper. You dive deeper into that choice, or maybe a different choice that you haven't actually thought of until you decided to be open. So with all that said, be open, because every person, every dancer is a mosaic, right? If you were to see my performances, which you should on my YouTube channel, if you were to see my performances, there is a lot of different things that you can see that I pull from. And so you can't really, like, a lot of people, again, in the performance that I met that other girl at, who had the solo, other people in that performance were like, what is your style? Or like, what style uses your solo in? And I was like, yep, yes, it is, right? Because I have so many different things that I'm pulling from, and I open myself up to those different things. Instead of saying, I'm gonna be animation, I'm going to be popping, I'm going to be locking, I'm going to be breaking, I'm going to be contemporary, I'm going to be blues, I'm going to be swing, I'm going to be Lindy Hop, I'm going to bachata, salsa, merengue, like all these different things that I pull from ballet, and then just regular urban hip hop, right, new hip hop kind of stuff. And it's like all the things I pulled into myself, I have melded together. And I'm like, this is what it is. This is me. This is me, whoa. So this is me. This is who I am. This is my dancing. And I open myself up to those different things. And then when it comes to teaching a class or taking a class or performing, I then say, this is my goal. But that couldn't have happened. I couldn't have brought those in with just the rigidity or just the organization, if you want to say it in a positive light. I need to open myself up for that. Even things, this is very important, even things that are not dance related, right? So I took sign language, right? I know sign language. However, the learning sign language has brought that like expressive, communicative aspect of signing into my dance. So the girl who was at the performance, again with this performance, she was she was learning to be a sign language interpreter. And so she was like, "Do you know sign?" And I was like, "I do." And she was like, "I could tell because of the way that you dance," which is super cool. But for me, it was like, oh, that has like bled its way into my dancing. And I wasn't, so that is super important because you as the dancer, someone who's growing, someone who's professional, someone who wants to take, someone who wants to teach, someone who wants to create like an infrastructure, a company, a business, whatever, there will be times where you're in one specific avenue and you're like, what? I don't want to lean into this thing. I want to do all of these things. I'm like, yes, however, if you're allowing yourself to be open to that thing, later on when you have the organization, you will now bring that into your endeavor, right? Whether it be starting a company, whether it be teaching, whether it be taking, whether it be performing. So, humans are mosaics, right? We're a bunch of shattered pieces that are put together to make something beautiful, right? So open yourself up, choose to grow, choose what your aim is, and choose to be open as you vacillate from organization to openness and back. Once again, guys, thank you so much for stopping by the Beat Hunter Dance Talk Show. I have several things to offer, okay? Dance coaching, I'm having to push back just because there's a lot of other things happening, but that's still in the works, so look out for that on my website. There's still a page about it. However, I'm starting up 2 different new classes, an adult hip-hop class, which is people 18 and up, and a K-pop class. Both of those, K-pop starts this Saturday, and you'll see a video tomorrow about what we're learning. However, the adult class, I'm building this wait list, and I'm like just above the amount of people I need to start the class. So, that's a great example of being intentional, right? I'm crafting a new space or being creative with my aim of what Beat Hunter is about. I'm crafting a new space where people can come to because a lot of people, there's like 0 K-pop classes in the area. I think there's like 1, and then there's like 0 adult classes in the area, right? If you go to a studio, you're like, if I'm going with my age, this is all the people who are like pre-professional. If I'm going with my skill, I'm going with a bunch of kids, right? I'm crafting out this area. I'm like, hey, 18 and up, if you want to dance, exercise, coordination, fun, whatever you want to do, it's for adults. So, anyways, just an example. Hit me up, beathunterdance.com, @beathunterdance, @Joel M. Casanova, and I'll see you guys next week.